Boys! And the 2% of girls watching this video. How we doing? What's going on? Welcome back to another session. I have here with me my goddamn juice. Welcome back to another session. Today we're gonna get some goddamn work done on what? I have no goddamn clue because it's been like 7 days since I've streamed. Let's jump right into it, baby. Last time we left off creating a separate sandbox environment. First of all, I don't know why this is highlighted red. That shouldn't really be a thing. Oh, and it's gonna crash when we try and go into the map editor, which yeah, kind of checks out, bro. To kick things off, I think what I would like to do is create a sandbox map environment. So we still need to do that. I think today that's what we're gonna do is actually create the map environment and do all that kind of stuff. Now, before we move on to that though, a quick little word from one of my absolute favorite sponsors in the entire goddamn world, DataCamp. It's an online course platform dedicated to learning anything and everything data related. There's a bunch of career tracks you can go down and you can actually get a certification at the end of it. So if you think you might have the slightest inkling of interest in data, this could be a really good starting point for, I don't know, your existing job or a new career, or something along those lines. There's over 350 data science courses designed by experts in the field. You can get the app on your phone and just pull it along, go through it at your own pace, or boot it open on the desktop or laptop and just churn through the entire thing nice and quick. I'm a pretty big fan of this data science for business course. It gives you a pretty nice high-level overview of how all this works in a business setting, which now that I think about it is absolutely every setting. Remember kids, if you're not paying for the product, you are the product. So what are you waiting for, bucko? Unlock new career opportunities and become a data fluent Chad today. Use my link in the description box below and check out the first chapter of any DataCamp course for the low price of goddamn free. Big thank you to DataCamp for sponsoring this vid. Now, back to the actual content. Goals. What's the point of setting big lofty goals if they don't excite you? If they don't maybe scare you a little bit? Not too much. It can't scare you so much that you're just kind of sitting there paralyzed in fear, procrastinating. Kind of gotta hit that balance. You know what I mean? Also, you may notice, listen to that. Aircon is a lot quieter. It may not sound too quiet, but it's a whole lot quieter than before. So there's gonna be less of a fucking jet engine blasting in the background throughout this video, hopefully. You know what I low-key want to do? I low-key want to have a main channel video out by the end of the year. Now, my only issue with that is the next main channel video, I want it to be titled something along the lines of how I made the best character movement on the face of this planet. Something like that. But in order to title it and thumbnail it that, I've actually got to make the best character controller on this fucking planet. And today is the 10th of November. Already kind of wasted 10 days. Might be a bit of a stretch, but at the same time, kind of like that. That's just not doable, dude. It's coming up to like fucking Christmas time. Whenever I have a good movement controller, that's when I'll start making it. So first things first, let's make a good controller. That's the goal for November. I think it's pretty doable. Well, let's just create the sandbox environments to start off with, and we will take it from there. So the first thing I noticed right off the bat here is the player is red. I think it thinks it's selected, but it should not be selected. So this just isn't being called the init map editor, which of course needs to be called. All right, so not even this gets called. So that would mean somewhere in the world there's an entity that is red, that is being initialized first before everything. I imagine it'd be one of these. It could also be an invisible entity. Oh, it might be the ground, because I think that's the first thing that gets created. Oh, there's no parameter being passed in here. And that should make it not shit the bed anymore. Let's see. Yay, we've got our map editor. Woo, let's go. First of all, let's get some terrain in. Whee! Yeah, look at that. Look how fucking easy creating a map is. That's kind of cool. I'm kind of proud of myself for that, not gonna lie. Ooh, I tell you what I'd love to do. I'd love to be able to middle mouse drag around. That would be so cool. Instead of using the arrow keys. Oh, that would be so amazing. Is middle mouse drag necessary? Do I already have a way of moving around? Yes. Would it be cool? Yes. But necessary? No. So we're not going to do it. It'd be very cool though. Alright, yeah, so here's our first problem, is that the way I have terrain set up right now, it's a hide map and you can't do things like overhangs. The reason it's in a hide map is because it was just a quick and dirty way of doing it. I mean, it kind of makes sense, but at the same time, there's going to be underground caves and shit, so like, then overhangs and cliffs, and we need that verticality. I think the first thing we're going to need to do is do a bit of an overhaul of how we actually create maps. Like, what's the collision look like? How do we sculpt terrain? How can we make terrain overhang like that? How do we store it? How do we do all that kind of good stuff? Because right now, it's like, not the best, you know? Alrighty. So the main issue right now, the entire ground is stored in basically a height map. So it's like this point, 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 and they are all stored, and all of those individual points are stored in a big fuck off array contiguously. As you were seeing before, that's a problem, because what if we wanted to do an overhang like that? Or what if we wanted to create a completely separate island just floating up here? Because it's like fucking magic, right? That would be not the anti-achievable. So how do we work around that? There's a couple ways. We could now store basically an array of arrays. So these are the points, right? And this is basically a set of points. So we've got 1 point here. You can just store them in kind of like fucking groups, right? This little dude. But the problem with that is kind of hard to store all those because there might be such different sizes, you know? To be fair, this would be more costly. We could have them as linked lists. So we could have like, there's a point here. It knows its next point. And it also knows its previous point. Maybe it doesn't even need to know its previous point. Probably does though. So each point knows its next and its last. That works because next, and we're back to the start. That would work. It's a self-contained thing. Yeah, like there's a bunch of different storage methods that we could use, or a bunch of different algorithms that we could use for dealing with the processing of that. But cross that bridge when we come to it. All right. You know what I just realized? This entire thing is very much one of those moments where I'm overthinking something and it does not apply to our current problem. Our current problem is creating a busing character controller, not creating a busing data structure which will represent the entire game world in a nice way and be final. That's not our problem. Literally all we need to do to create a busing character controller. Wow, we've done the sandbox, guys. Look how cool that is. Woo! Yeah, like, just look at this, dude. It's so just not it. So there's a couple of issues. A, the collision is fucked. B, acceleration, movement, all that kind of stuff, slopes are very munted as well. But I still very much would like to eventually get a solution to that whole world storage issue of the vertices. If you guys have any ideas of any kind of storage solution that we could have for, you know, having multiple of these things, and I would greatly appreciate it because I don't know what kind of data structure to use for it. I've done a bit of work on this page. It's a lot more succinct, a lot more beautiful. We've got two main issues. The first issue being creating an actual responsive character controller. Now, in order to figure out how to make a good responsive character controller, well, A, we're gonna need a bunch of playtesting from you guys, which is gonna be goddamn great once we do eventually do that. But to start off with, I would like to do a bunch of research and figure out what games did character control as well, try them out myself, just figure out some of the techniques we can use to make everything feel really responsive and fluid. So, I would really appreciate some help with that, boys. If you've got any videos in mind that you've watched in the past for like, yep, this would apply to this, just leave them in the comments if you've got any resources that you think would apply to creating like a really nice smooth character controller. So far, this is the one that I've got, and it's about building a better jump. I think I have actually seen this before. Yeah, I have, but I didn't take any notes on it. So that's for jumping. We've got that. I'm more after general movement, so that'd be really cool. Really appreciate your help, boys. If you've got anything in mind, please be sure to let me know. I will see you boys when I see you. Take care. Have a good one. Whatever it is you're doing, fucking best of luck, my man.